Okay, so if you're listening to this, you're probably as fascinated by this whole AI thing as we are, and especially intrigued by Jensen Huang's vision of where it's all going.
Right. And it makes sense. I mean, he's not just the CEO of NVIDIA, but he's the guy who took them from, making those graphics cards we used to love for gaming to like this major powerhouse in AI and supercomputing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like he saw this AI wave coming and figured out how to ride it better than almost anyone else.
It is pretty remarkable. You almost think they had some kind of crystal ball or something. But I think it really comes down to their expertise with GPUs. They were already deep into that world, which turned out to be the perfect fit for all the processing power that AI demands.
So all those parallel processing capabilities that made our games look so realistic are basically the same things that are now making AI algorithms run so well.
Pretty much. But it's more than just a lucky coincidence they were in the right place at the right time. NVIDIA actually developed some pretty specific technologies that gave them a huge advantage when it came to AI.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, when they came out with CU Day, it was a total game changer. It was like they gave developers this whole new language specifically designed to harness the power of GPUs for all sorts of computing tasks, including AI.
So it wasn't just that GPUs were powerful, it was that NVIDIA made them specifically usable for AI.
Exactly. And then you've got things like tensor cores, which are these specialized processing units inside their GPUs that are optimized for the kinds of calculations deep learning relies on matrix multiplications. All those innovations really put them on the map in the AI world.
So they were ready for the AI boom in a way that other companies just weren't.
Exactly. They were ahead of the curve. And Hong deserves a lot of credit for that. I mean, he saw that this wasn't just some niche technology. He knew AI had the potential to revolutionize tons of industries, not just gaming.
Yeah, he's been talking about AI's impact on everything from healthcare to automation to even creative fields.
It's true. He gets it. It's not just tech for the sake of tech. It's about how AI is going to completely change the way we live and work.
Okay, so let's dig into some of those specific impacts. Healthcare seems to be an area he's really excited about. What's his vision there?
Well, he's talked about using AI to diagnose diseases much earlier and more accurately. Imagine AI algorithms going through medical images like X-rays and MRIs, picking up on tiny things that a human doctor might miss.
That's pretty wild. It's like having an AI doctor looking over your shoulder.
Right. And he's also talked about using AI for personalized medicine, like tailoring treatments to someone's specific genes and lifestyle. It's about moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach to healthcare and getting much more precise.
That's incredible. Okay, but what about other areas? Besides healthcare, what else has Juan said about how AI is going to change things?
Well, one area that's ripe for disruption is automation. Huang believes AI can really streamline all kinds of complex processes across tons of industries. Think about things like manufacturing, logistics, even finance. AI can handle repetitive tasks, analyze mountains of data, and spot patterns that humans might miss.
So the idea is AI can handle the grunt work, freeing up humans for more creative and strategic stuff.
Yeah, that's the hope.
But what about the jobs that AI might displace? I mean, that's a big concern for a lot of people. Has Huang addressed that?
He has. He's acknowledged that there will be job displacement as AI gets more sophisticated, but he's also emphasized that this is a chance to rethink the whole idea of work itself.
So it's not about being afraid of AI. It's about getting ready for the changes it's going to bring.
Right. And he believes AI will create new jobs in industries that we can't even imagine yet. He also talks a lot about the importance of retraining and upskilling the workforce so people can adapt to these changes.
Okay, that makes sense. But this brings us to a question that's been debated endlessly. Are we getting to a point where AI might actually be smarter than humans?
That is the big question, isn't it? And Huang hasn't shied away from it either. He does believe that AI will eventually surpass human intelligence in certain areas, particularly those that involve analyzing massive amounts of data and doing really complex calculations.
But we're not talking about AI that can write a symphony or understate a joke anytime soon, right?
Not quite. He's very clear that human intelligence is still far superior when it comes to creativity, empathy, and understanding those subtle nuances of the real world, at least for now anyway.
Okay, so it sounds like his vision is more about AI and humans working together, each using their strengths, rather than AI taking over completely.
Exactly. And that leads us to his most interesting and perhaps most controversial prediction. He believes that the lines between the physical and digital worlds are going to keep blurring, leading to something he calls the omniverse.
Okay, now we're getting into some seriously futuristic stuff.
Yeah.
What exactly is this omniverse that he keeps talking about.
It's still a concept that's being developed, but basically it's this shared, persistent virtual world that's seamlessly connected to the physical world.
So like a giant virtual reality experience, but for everything, not just gaming.
Right. He sees it as a platform for all sorts of things, from collaborating on designs to doing scientific research to even artistic expression. It's a space where the limitations of the physical world don't exist.
So imagine architects working together on a virtual model of building scientists running experiments in a simulated environment, artists creating immersive experiences that blend reality and fantasy.
Exactly, and it goes even further. He talks about using AI to create these realistic digital avatars that can interact with each other and with the virtual world, just like we do in the real world.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie, but he seems to think this is where technology is heading.
He does, and it's a pretty mind-blowing vision.
It is. But how do we even begin to build something as complex as this omniverse? What are the key technologies that will make it possible?
He believes we need advancements in several key areas. Obviously, AI is going to be huge, especially in creating those intelligent avatars he's talking about. But we'll also need breakthroughs in computer graphics, high-speed networking, even sensor technology. He specifically mentioned the importance of creating realistic haptic feedback so you can actually feel the virtual world around you.
Wow, so it's not just about seeing the virtual world, it's about feeling it too. This is getting more and more like the Matrix every minute. But with all this talk about the omniverse, we haven't forgotten about NVIDIA, right? What hints did Huang give about the company's role in shaping this future?
He made it pretty clear that NVIDIA sees itself as a major player in building the infrastructure for the omniverse.
Okay, so what are they actually working on that could make this vision a reality? What's in their pipeline that has Huang so excited?
Well, he did mention their new Grace Hopper superchip. It combines their latest GPU architecture with a powerful ARM-based CPU, all on one chip.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. It sounded like they're positioning it as a major breakthrough in AI and high-performance computing.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. Having the GPU and CPU working so closely together is going to really speed up those data-intensive tasks that are so important for AI. It's like they're building the engine that's going to power the next generation of AI applications.
So it's not just about raw processing power.
No, it's not just about that. NVIDIA is also putting a ton of resources into developing software tools that make it easier for developers to build and deploy AI solutions. They want to create a platform that's super accessible so that more people can get into AI development.
So they're not just building the hardware, they're building the whole ecosystem around it.
Exactly. They get it. The hardware is just one piece of the puzzle. They need to create the software tools, the libraries, the frameworks that let developers use that hardware to its full potential. It's a smart move because it creates this kind of virtuous cycle where the more developers use their platform, the more demand there is for their hardware.
Yeah, that makes sense. But let's talk about the applications for a minute. We've spent a lot of time on the technical side of AI, but I'm curious about how this is all going to affect areas beyond the obvious ones like tech and research. What about things like entertainment, art, those kinds of fields?
Well, that's something Huang has talked about a lot, actually. He sees AI as this incredibly powerful tool for creative expression. He thinks AI can help musicians write, music filmmakers create amazing visual effects, even writers come up with compelling stories.
It's not about replacing human creativity, though.
No, it's about amplifying it, giving artists new tools to explore their ideas and push the boundaries of what's possible. He even talked about using AI to generate personalized music that adapts to your mood and preferences as you're listening.
Wow, that's wild. So instead of just passively listening to music, you're actually co-creating it in a way. But wouldn't that kind of technology put a lot of musicians out of work?
That's a fair point, and it's something Huang has acknowledged. But he believes that AI will ultimately create more opportunities for artists than it eliminates. He sees AI as a partner, a collaborator, a tool that can help artists be more productive, more experimental, more expressive.
It's like having an AI assistant that can handle the technical parts of creating, so the artist can focus on the bigger picture, the emotional impact of their work.
Right, and think about the potential for completely new art forms that we can't even imagine yet. AI could open up whole new ways of creating and experiencing art, blurring the lines between the physical and digital worlds even further.
So much to think about. So far, we've covered a lot of ground. NVIDIA's transformation, the impact of AI on different industries, the potential for humans and AI to work together, the possibility of AI surpassing human intelligence, and even Huang's vision of the omniverse. It's a lot to digest, especially for someone like our listener who might be feeling inspired to get involved in this AI revolution. What advice has Huang given for those who are hoping to make their mark in this field? The aspiring tech innovators, the entrepreneurs, the
He's
dreamers.
shared a lot of great insights over the years, but one thing he always comes back to is the importance of taking risks. He believes that real innovation requires stepping outside your comfort zone and being okay with the possibility of failure.
That whole fail fast, fail often idea you hear so much in the startup world.
Yeah, but he takes it a step further. He talks about seeing failure not as something to be avoided, but as a learning opportunity, a chance to iterate and improve.
So it's not about never failing. It's about learning from your failures and using those lessons to get better.
Exactly. And he's also talked a lot about the importance of building a great team, surrounding yourself with talented people who share your passion and curiosity. You can have the most brilliant idea in the world, but you need the right people to help you bring it to life.
I can imagine that's especially true in a field like AI, where the technology is so complex and constantly changing. No one person can be an expert in everything.
Definitely not. And one last piece of advice he always emphasizes is the importance of believing in your vision even when others doubt you. He points out that so many groundbreaking innovations were met with skepticism at first. He himself faced a lot of doubters when he first started talking about using GPUs for things beyond gaming.
He was ahead of his time.
He was, but he stuck to his guns. He kept pushing forward, and look where he is now.
So the message is, don't let the naysayers get you down. Trust your instincts and keep going.
Exactly. Good advice for anyone venturing into uncharted territory, like AI.
Okay, so let's talk about that surprising, maybe even mind-boggling prediction that Wang made about the future of AI and technology, the one we've been building up to.
Well, Juan has this amazing ability to see the big picture, to connect the dots in a way that most people don't. And this prediction really reflects that. He believes that the lines between the physical and digital worlds are going to continue to blur eventually, leading to what he calls the omniverse.
We touched on this earlier, but it's such a big idea. I'm not sure I fully grasped it. What exactly does he mean by omniverse? How would that actually work in the real world?
Imagine a persistent shared virtual world that's connected to the real world in countless ways. It's a place where people can interact, collaborate, create, no matter where they are physically. Imagine attending a virtual conference where you can talk to other people as if you were all in the same room, even though you're actually scattered all over the globe. Or imagine designers working together on a 3D model of a product, making changes and seeing the results instantly, even if they're on opposite sides of the planet.
So it's like taking virtual reality and expanding it to a massive, almost unimaginable scale.
Exactly. And it's not just about replicating the physical world in a virtual space. It's about creating entirely new experiences and possibilities that wouldn't be possible in the real world. Architects could design buildings that defy gravity. Scientists could run experiments in simulated environments that would be too dangerous or expensive to create in real life.
That's pretty incredible. But if this omniverse is going to be so closely tied to the real world, wouldn't that require some seriously advanced technology? What's going to make this possible?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. Huang thinks AI is going to be the key. He imagines a world where AI-powered avatars can interact with each other and with the virtual environment in a way that's indistinguishable from real life.
So these avatars would be able to learn, adapt, and even anticipate your needs.
That's the idea. And they'd be able to access and process information from the real world through a network of sensors and devices.
So you could literally have your AI avatar attend a meeting for you while you're doing something else, and it would be able to interact with people, take notes, and even make decisions based on your preferences.
That's the vision, and it goes beyond just avatars. He talks about using AI to create these personalized experiences within the omniverse. Imagine a virtual world that changes based on your mood, your interests, and your goals. It could be a place where you go to learn new skills, explore new worlds, connect with people who share your passions.
Okay, I'm starting to see why Huang is so excited about this. This isn't just a new technology, it's a whole new way of thinking about how we interact with technology and with each other.
It is a paradigm shift, and it raises a lot of questions. If we can move back and forth between the real and virtual worlds so easily, what does that mean for our sense of self? What are the ethical implications of creating such a powerful and immersive technology? How do we ensure that the omniverse is used for good and not for bad?
Yeah, those are all valid concerns. But before we go too far down the rabbit hole of philosophical questions, I want to bring us back to the present. We've talked a lot about the future, but what about where we are right now in terms of AI development? Is Huang optimistic or cautious?
He's definitely optimistic about the long-term potential of AI. He believes we're just scratching the surface of what's possible and that the most exciting breakthroughs are yet to come.
But are there any challenges or roadblocks that he sees ahead?
He has mentioned a few. One is the issue of data bias. AI algorithms are only as good as the data they're trained on, and if that data is biased, the AI will be biased too.
So if an AI is trained on data that reflects existing societal biases, it could actually make those biases worse.
That's the danger. That's why it's so important that we develop AI systems that are fair, transparent, and accountable. And that takes a real effort from researchers, developers, policymakers, and society as a whole.
So it's not just a tech problem, it's a social and ethical problem too.
Exactly, and that leads to another challenge that Hong has talked about, the need for responsible innovation. As AI gets more powerful, it's crucial that we develop it in a way that benefits everyone, not just a select few. That means thinking about the potential impact of AI on things like jobs, privacy, equality, and even our democracy.
So we can't just focus on developing the technology. We also have to think about the consequences of using that technology and make sure it's used for the right reasons.
Right. And that's a responsibility that we all share. We can't just leave it to the tech companies or the government to figure this out. We all need to be part of the conversation and make sure AI is developed and used in a way that aligns with our values.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about some of the specific things that NVIDIA is doing to address these challenges. We know they're developing powerful AI hardware and software, but are they also taking steps to ensure that their technology is used responsibly?
They are. They've actually published a set of AI ethics principles that guide their work. They're also investing in research on AI safety and fairness, and they're collaborating with other companies and organizations to develop industry-wide standards for responsible AI development.
It's good to hear. Sounds like they're taking this seriously.
They are, and they're not the only ones. There's a real movement within the tech industry to address the ethical implications of AI. More and more companies are realizing that they need to be proactive about this, not just to protect their reputation, but because it's the right thing to do.
It sounds like there's a growing awareness that responsible AI development is important. But this is a really complicated issue with no easy answers. How do we balance the potential benefits of AI with the potential risks? How do we make sure this technology is used for good and not for harm?
Those are tough questions, and there's no magic bullet. I think the key is to have an open and honest conversation about these issues. We need to bring people together from all walks of life to figure out the challenges and opportunities AI presents. And we have to work together to create a future where AI benefits everyone.
That's a great point. This isn't just a tech issue, it's a human issue.
Yeah.
And it's one that we all need to be involved in. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Jensen Huang's vision of the future of AI, what's the main takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
I think the most important takeaway is this. The future of AI isn't set in stone. It's something that we're all creating together. The choices we make today will determine what that future looks like. So it's absolutely crucial that we approach this technology with a sense of responsibility, with a commitment to ethics, and with a vision for a future where AI benefits all of humanity. It really does feel like we're at a crossroads with AI, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And it's exciting, but kind of scary at the same time. Yeah. We have this incredible technology that could potentially help us solve some of the biggest problems facing humanity, but it could also create a whole bunch of new problems if we're not careful.
Right. It's a double-edged sword for sure.
So it's not just about developing the technology, it's about developing it responsibly and ethically, right? That's the key.
Absolutely. And that's something that Hong has been talking about for a long time. He's actually been calling for a global conversation about AI ethics and how to govern this technology. He knows that it's way too powerful to just let it develop without any guardrails.
That makes sense. So what can regular people like us do to make sure that AI is developed and used in a way that benefits everybody? It feels like such a huge issue that it's easy to feel helpless.
I know what you mean. But there are things we can do. We can learn more about AI, understand its potential benefits and its potential risks. We can support organizations that are working to promote responsible AI development. And we can talk about AI with our friends, families, and colleagues. The more we talk about these issues, the more likely we are to come up with solutions that work for everyone.
So it's about raising awareness, having those tough conversations, and holding the people in power accountable.
Exactly. And it's also about being mindful of how we use AI in our own lives. We need to be aware of the potential biases that AI systems can have, and we need to be critical of the information we're getting from them. We can't just blindly trust AI to make decisions for us.
So we should use AI as a tool, but not let it become our boss.
Exactly. We need to stay in control and make sure AI is serving us, not the other way around. And that means having these ongoing conversations, thinking critically, and being willing to adapt as AI continues to evolve.
I think that's a great message for our listeners.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Jensen Huang's vision of the future of AI, what's the one thing you hope they'll take away from all of this?
I hope they'll remember that the future of AI isn't some predetermined thing. It's something that we're all creating together right now. And that's both a challenge and a huge opportunity. We have the ability to shape this technology so that it benefits all of humankind, but we also have the responsibility to do it in a way that's ethical and thoughtful.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this episode. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of AI. We'll be back soon with another episode exploring a new topic. Until then, keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep those conversations going.